Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Trackside Talks. This episode, we will be going over what just happened in the Zandvoort Grand Prix and making predictions for Monza. Okay, so I'll start us off here. I think we have to start talking about qualifying. I thought that the Ferraris had an extremely tough time. I had zero hope for the weekend after qualifying. Their car it did not have enough pace. Carlos had the gearbox issue in one of the free practices. It just was not going well. I think another big point is how far ahead Lando was in qualifying. I mean, the McLaren car is absolutely flying in qualifying and in races. So I think that they're going to do great. Race day, the start from Max had me thinking that Max was going to easily win it. But then Lando pulled out and had one of the most impressive wins of the season. So I thought that was cool. And both the Ferraris had a great race.
All right, I'm calling it right now. McLaren's going to win the Constructors' Championship, and then obviously Max Verstappen is going to win the Drivers' Championship.
Okay, yeah, I honestly agree with that. I think McLaren's car is just so unbelievably fast. I've never seen a car. I mean, it's almost been like since the 2018 Mercedes when I've seen a car that's just that dominant. Now, I think Max is the better driver, but that car is just unbelievably fast. I also thought a huge win from the race is, again, both the Ferraris did not have a good start. They were in 5th and 10th, and I think Carlos Sainz had an absolutely perfect race from him. I mean, he finished in 5th, starting in 10th. Big shout out to Auntie K sticking with him all through all of his troubles. But I thought his pace through the race was absolutely fabulous, and he had a great strategy. And same with Charles. I think Charles, I thought that the move around Checo early was great. He held off Piastri for, a solid 30 minutes. So I thought that they were both just very impressive this weekend.
We need to talk about is I think even though Mercedes had a very disappointing weekend because they bottled the strategy, I think that they actually have a faster car than Red Bull now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Red Bull actually has not the fastest car. I mean, I don't think anyone is saying that they had the fastest car anymore because of Mercedes and McLaren. But I think Max is just so dominant. I mean, and I think the real way that you can tell that the car is not that dominant is Checo's performance. I just thought, especially at the beginning of the race, right in the first few turns, Charles goes right around him, and it seems like he has almost no trouble. And that's been true in the past few races, like back in Belgium. Checo had just, again, a terrible start and immediately got passed. So I think Checo's, this is going to be his last season at Red Bull. But you also have to wonder where he's going to go. Like, is he not going to have a seat? Which I don't feel like is fair, because I do feel like he's a better driver than a lot of people, but I just don't think he's deserving of a Red Bull seat. You can talk about Pierre, though.
So Pierre had a great weekend, and I think the car looked pretty good, but Esteban just had some problems with tire grip. And I'm very relieved that Esteban is going to Haas next year because I think that they are much of a more like up-and-coming team, and they are better for his future, and I think that he will do very well with them. So I'm excited for that because I think he's a really good driver, and he should get to show it off a little bit more. And also, speaking of driver moves, I feel bad Logan Sargent's out in the middle of the season. Like, they aren't even letting him finish. And even though he had a lot of crashing problems, he wasn't as bad as he could have been sometimes. He was okay when he got put in a good position. He just really struggled in qualifying, especially.
I feel like that was an absolute stab in the back. Like, we know he's not as good as Alexander Albon, but but Williams has no chance of doing anything this season. So it just seems like it doesn't matter that much, and to take him out in the middle of the season in one of the biggest Formula One, or in the biggest racing seasons of his entire life, it just feels like it's super, it's really a tough move, or a tough thing for him to hear, and I feel really, really bad. But I am excited to see how the new guy will do. I forgot his name, but I'm excited to see how he does.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Also, are you gonna become a Haas fan, or are you gonna stay an Alpine fan? Are you going with Esteban, or are you staying with Alpine?
Oh, no, I'm going with Esteban.
Oh, nice.
Come on, man.
Who is the other Haas driver for next year? Is it Ollie Behrman?
Yeah, it is.
Ooh, that's
And
actually
then
really...
Nico Hulkenberg is going to kick Sauber in the Audi project, and then I have no clue where Kevin Magnussen's going. He's probably retiring now.
That's actually, the Haas team for next year is actually sounding pretty promising, and Haas has been on the rise, so I think Esteban has much higher potential there, which is exciting. Another big thing for Monza, Ferrari's new race suits. I think that those are absolutely awesome. And I can only hope that this will be a great Monza race for them, because obviously this means a lot to every Ferrari driver. So I hope that they can perform well and put on a show for all the Italians. All right, so now let's make predictions for Monza next weekend. Since it's already race week, I mean, now that we're back from summer break, we're back in full swing. We got races.
Yeah, we're really chugging now.
All right, so I'll go first. Let's do top 10. So,
Okay.
I think in first place I have Lando Norris. I think, actually,
Basic.
see, now this is tough. I'm having a hard time. I take it back. I think Charles is going to win it in Monza. I just think the race that we saw him drive this weekend was so impressive, considering his starting position, that he ended up on the podium. I thought his overtaking was great. His defense on Piastri was great. And I just feel like he's making a comeback after his huge downfall after Monaco. And I truly do hope that the Ferraris do well for the Italian crowd. So I have him going 1. 2, I have Max. 3, I have Carlos. Again, another Ferrari driver. I know this is extremely biased since I am a Ferrari fan, but this is really what I hope. I mean, I really do feel like this could be the race. It's a super, super, super fast race. I mean, it's literally titled the Temple of Speed, but I'm just very excited to see if we can perform there well. And then in 4th, I have Lando. 5th, I have Lewis. 6th, I have Oscar. 7th, I have Fernando. 8th, I have George. 9th, I have... Who do I have 9th? 9th, I have Nico Hulkenberg. And then 10th... Who do I have in 10th? I got to think about that. 10th. 10th, I have Pierre again. I thought Pierre just looked absolutely amazing. There were a few times where he fell out of the top 10, but he just made his way straight back. So I think he's well back in form, and I think the Alpine car may not be the best, shown by Esteban's performance, but I think that that Pierre is just very much in form right now. So I have him going number 10.
I actually like that list. But I do think it's going to be hard to beat McLaren right now. So my top 10 will have to be number 1. I have Lando Norris. Number 2, I have Carlos Sainz, and then 3, I have.
Quit your chuckling. Get on with your list.
Okay, 3, I have George Russell. 4, I have Max Verstappen. So Norris, Sainz, Russell Verstappen, then Piastri at 5, then Perez at 6, then Alonso at 7, Lewis at 8, and then Ocon at 9, Gasly at 10. I think Alpine looked very good, and I think that, or looked much better at least, and I think that they will be doing very well going into this weekend.
Yeah, no, I as well have high hopes for Alpine. I thought that they looked, I mean, even Esteban, he just didn't do so great in qualifying, but he held his position quite well, even though he started super far down. So I think they could have a big weekend. Anyhow, I'm super excited for Monza. It's one of my favorite races. It's the fastest race on the grid. And it's just obviously home of Ferrari, but I'm just super excited to watch it this weekend. And yep, that's all I got to say. Do you have anything else?
I have one last thing. I think that the biggest disappointing team last weekend was, to me, Visa Cash App RB team. I think they did absolutely horrible, and I think that they have two drivers that, I just think that could be doing much better elsewhere right now, and I kind of think that they will just continue on a downward trend, at least till the rules change in 2026. So I think that they'll start to be an even more bottom-of-the-grid team and less midfield.
Yeah, I've been super disappointed with Daniel Ricciardo this season. I still believe that he's one of the better drivers that there are, and he has a ton of experience. But Red Bull RB really did not produce a good car this year. And I agree, it just doesn't seem like they're in the position. Daniel Ricciardo is not that young. It just doesn't feel like they're in an upward spiral right now. So I don't have a ton of hopes for them.
All right, well, thanks for watching. This has been fun, Sam. Hope to see you soon. Excited to hang out at Thanksgiving. Good job to Ferrari, and see you guys after Monza.
Absolutely.
Maybe we should do a qualifying episode.
Yeah, maybe. All right, well, we'll see y'all then.
Peace.